So I profusely apologize for not being around for a couple weeks, but you see, I was reading this, and it took a while, especially with schoolwork. Oh my goodness. Today is Calvin and Hobbes, the complete collection by Bill Watterson. My grandfather gave me this huge set of all of the Calvin and Hobbes comic strips ever devised by Bill Watterson. This was because he would read them aloud to me, my grandfather would, and then after a while I got to the point where I could read them on my own. Where to start? They started in 1985, and you can kind of see how they progressed and went on from there. It's just really good stuff. Bill Watterson is a very interesting sort of guy, because you may not realize this, but Calvin and Hobbes was as famous as Peanuts, if not more. And it's a ridiculous pop culture thing, really big. And he, however, does not make public appearances, except maybe for like a couple of very rare times. No one knows where he lives, really. And he has no public personality, and also he will not let his stuff be merchandised other than just the comics themselves. He's very protective of his work, and he's very anti everything that this pop culture is about, and that's something that comes across very much in his good old-fashioned writing here. How to describe why Calvin and Hobbes is, first of all, you have Calvin, who I would describe as like a pessimist. He's a little kid pessimist, and he's really smart, but he's also kind of ignorant, and he just doesn't have a good grip on life yet. And then you have Hobbes, who's like the tiger, and he's slightly wiser, but he's very optimistic and outgoing and excited about life, and they just balance each other out so well. And so you have these two conflicting viewpoints who are just the best of friends. So they're kind of like the opposite spectrums of each other. But Hobbes also can be really mischievous and kind of devious in what he does, and so they kind of fit together in that way. And then you have like his mom and his dad and a little other cast of side characters. Susie comes in a lot. But the whole thing is Calvin and Hobbes, and it's amazing what he does with these characters and how he continually evolves them. It starts out as kind of just being a funny little, normal cartoon, but as it goes on, it becomes more and more of social commentary. They talk more and more about serious subjects and serious topics, but all with a little bit of a funny twist in there. A lot of sarcasm is used. It's just really smart, really engaging to read. And other things that he does, he has this way, and in analyzing it, I find he does this all the time. Bill Watterson takes a normal sounding story, right? He has all these storylines. He was very good at just dailies that are different every time, but he also has these intense storylines that would go on for a couple weeks, and he would take what you thought was going to happen, like, Calvin is going to write a report, and for a few days they talk about writing the report and how Calvin doesn't want to write the report, and it's just a terrible thing, and Hobbes is like, you should just write it, and then all of a sudden Calvin's like, hey, I know what we'll do. We'll build something to make me smarter. And so they go to the cardboard box and everything and put a colander on his head, and all of a sudden his forehead is huge, and they're trying to figure out how to disguise the fact that his forehead is huge, and It's just like he starts in one place and goes to a completely different place by the end of the story, and you just never know. It's never predictable. Another thing with Bill is that he is a fabulous artist, and he became so, like, the comic strip became so revered. They would, you know, how comic strips are supposed to be, like, one square, one square, one square. His work got so good, and everybody just wanted to read it so much that he was actually able to do things like tilt boxes and have, like, these large watercolor landscapes inside of this little comic strip. So he really pushed the boundaries of the medium. He's so well respected within the community. There's a documentary that I watched one time just about how important his work is in the comic book industry, and it's just fascinating to have this guy who's so who refuses to step out into the spotlight, but he can be so important. And I really envy and admire his humility and how he is able to have such great influence but not be changed by it. So yeah, that's Calvin and Hobbes. It's so good. It's so good. Everyone should read it, ever. 3-year-olds, read them to your tiny children. Like, that's the other thing. Even if you don't understand the subtle humor, there were things that I did not understand in the comic strips until this reading. Like, because there's just so much to catch. But no matter what, the children will love the little tiger, and they will love how Calvin tries to get out of things. Like, there's humor for adults, there's humor for children. It's like, it's everything, man. Everyone can enjoy this. So go out and do so, please. Calvin and Hobbes. Read some of it. It's free online. Read it, man. Bye.